What up, everybody? Philly with Jon Marks on PHLY Sports. We are live on a Monday, presented by Parks Casino and Bet Parks. Get all your lines and everything else. Bet Parks app, Parks Casino. Hello to everyone watching on YouTube this morning. Remember, like and subscribe. We're live every day at 8 o'clock, but you can watch at your convenience on YouTube. Give us a comment with what you're hearing and what we're talking about. We appreciate it. Hello to everybody watching on Roku TV. And if you're listening on a podcast, it gets posted every day right around 9 o'clock. Tyler Zulli will get it up there with what we're talking about, and you can listen as you're going into work or you're just arriving at work. Well, this is going to be one of the few days that were maybe the only day that we're not reacting the day after a game. So the Eagles played on Friday night, and we got to celebrate it. We got to enjoy it all weekend long. Now it's Monday morning. How do we feel today? So here are my thoughts, and then we will get to Tyler coming up with an update on other things as well. Harry Mays is going to join the show coming up at about 8:20, my old buddy from The Fanatic. But Andy Reid one time was being questioned after a win, and he kind of snapped and said, "Hey, don't worry about it, man. Enjoy the win." And I'm enjoying this win. That was an entertaining game on Friday night. The offense is explosive. Saquon Barkley is amazing. And we'll get to all that coming up in a second. It was a sloppy game. And, mistakes are being made. I think a lot of us expect that after a while in the first week or two of the season, with a lot of these players not playing in preseason. But overall, a win is a win against a very good Packers team, and the offense looked great. And more on the defense coming up in a second. But the offense is stacked. How can you not be impressed and really excited? We knew A.J. Brown. We knew DeVonta Smith. But Saquon Barkley almost undertalked in the offseason. I'm not going to put it just on Eagles fans, because I think we were all excited, but we were excited to see what version we were getting and can he stay healthy. But nationally with Saquon Barkley, I heard a lot of people talking about overpaying at the running back position, not really a need that you have to go out and spend the kind of money that the Eagles did. And this was always my position with Saquon Barkley, which was a very special and dynamic player. And if he's put in the right situation on the right team, he can be that missing piece. And I think that's what he is in Philadelphia. You wouldn't want to bring Saquon Barkley to the Carolina Panthers necessarily, although they can use all the help that they can get. But you know what I mean. Staying with the Giants and Saquon Barkley, why? He's a running back that's entering his second full contract. And what do you need a running back for? Like, it's a luxury. A running back in the NFL is a luxury. But I never believed that the Eagles didn't put a premium and didn't, not necessarily as a priority, but didn't value the running back position, right? They spent draft picks on running backs, but they actually went out, and Howie Roseman didn't get a steal. It would have been one thing if Howie would have went out and waited out the market and said, look at the price tag on Saquon. Let's go get him. No, he targeted him. Both sides were ready to go, boom, and they paid him. And, man, so far so great. A T.O.-like performance debut for Saquon Barkley as a Philadelphia Eagle. 3 touchdowns, and not just that, 24 carries. They used them. Now, I don't know if they can continue to use them with that many carries. Not as much play in the passing game as maybe some people thought. I know I had said on Friday, I think he's going to get the yards and the touches. I just didn't know how many carries. 24 carries in his debut, and he's got the burst. The Barkley burst, you saw it. Boom, right through the line of scrimmage. Does a cut, makes a guy miss, in for a touchdown. The route that he ran, the design of the play by Kellen Moore on the passing reception, the touchdown, where DeVonta and AJ are being used as a decoy, and then Saquon gets out of the backfield, gets behind the linebacker right before the safety jumps in. Great throw by Jalen Hurts. Boom, that was a touchdown. So Saquon Barkley, you can see what he does for this offense. A.J. Brown, we know he's a stud. He had a catch, and you're not going to catch me for a touchdown. Impressive day. We've come to find that with A.J. Brown. And then you look at DeVonta Smith, who didn't have eye-popping numbers if you look at the box score. But damn, he just seems to make every big catch that you need in big spots. That final drive where he has a real knack for finding space and finding an open spot in a zone, making sure he catches it, and also getting enough yards to get the first down. So DeVonta was what you've come to expect for DeVonta Smith, like really, really good. When you see all three of them, and I'm not even mentioning Dallas Goedert, who almost seems like a throwaway at this point, but when you talk about those three guys right there, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, man, this offense is going to be something this year. They're going to be very, very difficult to stop. That's if the quarterback can play at a high level and play well. So let's talk about Jalen Hurts. I wanted to make sure I started off on a positive note here because Tyler did a lot of years of radio. I've done a lot of years of radio. And the rule that I came by my last run on the Marks and Reese show was that for the most part, I'm going to allow people to enjoy the win. That it's not going to be the day after the game. I'm going to let the people have it for the most part. I'm going to let you enjoy it. And then by the day after, if I feel a certain way, then I'm going to let you know I feel a certain way. Jalen Hurts made some really good throws. He was really good that final drive when you needed to get points. Really needed a touchdown there to put it away, but you needed to get points. You needed to chew up the clock. They did it. So, like, it's not that he didn't make good throws. He made good throws. He looked good at times. But I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he's making these throws. I don't know how he's making more or less rookie mistakes. He's not a rookie anymore. I don't want to hear about, he's different defensive coordinators. It's another defensive coordinator. He's making bad decisions. The first interception, terrible decision. Terrible decision. Now, again, he played well and he had good throws. But the missed field goal, Green Bay misses a field goal. You're getting deep into the fourth quarter. You have a chance to go down and put the game away. And you're inside the 10-yard line, and Hurts makes a terrible decision. Eagles are up 5. A field goal, okay. Field goal puts them up 8. Touchdown puts them up double digits. 2 possessions, game's probably over. But at the very least, a field goal puts you up 8. 3rd and 13, and he makes just a terrible decision. Again, you're going to throw interceptions in the NFL. I'm not trying to say you're not going to throw interceptions. Sometimes interceptions aren't your fault, right? You don't realize the receiver runs the wrong route or whatever, or there's tip balls, but it's not always the quarterback's problem. And even when it is, then like interceptions happen. I'm just confused to where in that situation, how you roll out and you throw across your body in the middle of the end zone into a bunch of junk and it gets picked off. I don't know how you do it. Inexcusable. And the fact that the play before, you almost threw a pick six, it very easily could have been a pick six. Terrible decision on that throw. You're lucky it wasn't intercepted and taken the distance. So the very next play, you make another mental error. I'm confused why you make those throws. He's making big money not to make boneheaded plays like that. 2022, I was so impressed with how he developed as a passer, and he didn't make those plays. He protected the ball very well. And now last year, he did the same thing last year. 15 interceptions last year. He was 4th in the NFL in turnovers last year. 20 turnovers. Can't have that. Can't have that. So they're lucky that they won that game. They should feel extremely fortunate based on that last play right there. So can't do it, Jalen. Got to clean it up, man. Got to clean it up. You can't make mistakes like that. Man, the offensive line protected him well for the most part. Maybe we'll try to get Fran on tomorrow, Tyler, to discuss because a lot of times, is he missing open receivers? Is he not seeing the field well? So we'll have to figure that out. But overall, like a good game, but 2 interceptions ain't going to be good enough. Real quick, then we'll get to Tyler. Eagles defense, I heard a lot of heat after the game towards the defense. They gave up over 400 yards. Packers gave up over 400 yards too. But I thought the defense was good for the most part. Not great, but first quarter, 2 turnovers, Jalen Hurts interception, and then whatever happened on that snap, you gave the Packers opportunities to score touchdowns early in the game, and the defense came up big both times, and they only got field goals. That's a much different game if it's 10 or it's 14-0 at that point. And the blanket chip interception that was deep in Packers territory, that set up the go-ahead touchdown. Again, what I ask from this defense is that they're opportunistic when it comes to takeaways, which they did yesterday, and they get big stops. They got big stops, on Friday. They got big stops. The interception was huge. So, this isn't the 85 Bears. I don't know any defense in the NFL that's going to be the 85 Bears. They're not even going to be the 2022 Eagles defense. But if they can do enough and they can be good enough, then I feel pretty good about this team. Last thing, I don't know if there's a Brazilian sod father, but I don't think you can blame the regular sod father for this one. That turf was atrocious. And I don't know how the NFL, in a game like that where you're showcasing the first game in South America, how that's not taken care of a little bit better. It was bad. It was bad. As we bring in Tyler Zuley for some news. What's going on, Tyler?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Feeling good. I mean, I think that you're right. There's a lot to clean up. Decision-making needs to be a little bit better. Anytime you go on the road, especially to another continent to play a game, there's factors that be, kind of are out of your control. It's different time zones, different sleep schedules, and all that kind of stuff. You could have come out of here 0-1. I think there's work that needs to be done, but I think the overarching, biggest storyline to me is the success of Saquon Barkley in week 1. I am a big proponent of don't sign running backs to big deals. That's always been my mantra. If you look at the last 15 Super Bowl winners, 12 of them didn't pay running backs a lot of money. Right. Now, LeGarrette Blount made up for that for a lot of teams, right? He was the Eagles' highest paid rusher the year they won the Super Bowl. The year prior, he was the Patriots' leading rusher the year they won the Super Bowl. The year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, I think a wide receiver was their leading rusher. I think it was Percy Harvin the year they won the Super Bowl. I am a big proponent of not paying running backs because it is a volatile position. It's a position with an extremely short shelf life, and you can get a lot of talented players via the draft for very, very cheap.
Yep.
With the exception of if you have the ability to sign a premier elite level running back to like you mentioned, with a team that is ready to compete. Christian McCaffrey signing an extension made a ton of sense for the 49ers. They're a Super Bowl contender. A Derrick Henry signing with the Ravens makes sense. Should be a team that was a contender. Same thing can be said for Saquon Barkley and the Eagles. This team was ready to compete offensively. He's just another piece to it. It's a lot of money to invest in the running back position for a volatile position. And 97% of the time, I would say no.
But you know what? It's also 2 years. Right? It's 2 years of guaranteed money. So do I expect there to be some kind of injury bug, something with Saquon Barkley? I mean, I think you have to, just based on his career and based on the position, that there might be some nicks. You just hope there's some nicks and not some major injuries, sure. Right? But it's a 2-year contract. You're not worried about cap money with this team. Jeffrey Lurie pays everybody, and you just kick everything into the future. You don't have to worry about it.
Deferral forever makes sense, right?
Dude, this team right now, the window's wide open.
Sure.
The NFC's not great. There's a ton of talent on this team. This is where you go for it.
Agreed.
This doesn't make sense if you're a team that's not competing in the next 2 years to win a Super Bowl. You don't sign Saquon Barkley then. Baltimore. I think Derrick Henry looks like he's almost done to me.
Right, and that's the other side of the equation that can hurt you.
But it's 1 year. The Ravens, a lot of times, and I'm fine with this normally too, going year to year with running backs. You had mentioned LeGarrette Blount. You can go year to year with running backs, but when you have an opportunity for a guy like Saquon Barkley, who, by the way, wanted to come here because he saw how talented this team was and he knew it was going to stick it up the Giants' butt for doing it. I mean, honestly, it made perfect sense. There were a lot of national people out there that were poo-pooing this move and saying it wasn't a smart move and they overpaid for him or whatever. Who the hell cares how much he's making if he's productive? And you saw the difference between Saquon Barkley and another, hey, we can bring this guy in for a year and he's going to be good.
Sure. It makes sense with a team that's got a championship window.
The jump cut, now I know he went out of bounds, but like we haven't seen talent like this. I'll just say since T.O., as far as raw talent. That was a TO freaking debut on Friday night, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, 3 scores is you can't ask for anything more than that. We have a ton to get into over the next couple of minutes or so. Just a quick look around the NFL and some of the games that had impact and meaning. Couple of first-round quarterbacks take the stage for the first time. Caleb Williams gets the start for the Chicago Bears. They win that one 24-17, despite the fact that they did not score a offensive touchdown.
He had like 93 passing yards
in this game. 14 of 29 for 93 yards.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty for them. Cairo Santos with a trio of field goals, a blocked punt return for a touchdown, and an interception return for a touchdown. So I've been saying this for a while. This is just my my Will Levis slander at this point because I can't stand the guy. He stinks. He's terrible.
I've been saying it for years.
To not win a game when your defense doesn't allow a point is pretty embarrassing.
Did you see the interception he threw?
Awful.
He was going down, and he's trying to as he's going down, he's trying to throw. I think it was his. No, I guess it was his right hand, but he's just trying to like flick it, and like he's terrible. He's terrible. Will Levis will never be a good quarterback in this league. I'm with you.
Jaden Daniels, the number 2 overall pick, also got a start. Was efficient, I guess, with his arm. 17 of 24, only threw for 184 yards. But he did run the ball 16 times for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, Tampa Bay wins this game 37-20, kind of going away in the second half.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdown passes in this one. How about this, John? Who would have thought we live in a world where Baker Mayfield gets exiled from Cleveland and ends up having like a career resurgence with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah, I would say like 80% of players that have bust potential like this. And by the way, like he was good in Cleveland. He wanted $40 million a year, and the team was like, whoa, I don't know about that. And I think he overplayed his hand. But I'm happy for him because he's worked hard to get back here. Went to Carolina, it looked like his career might be over, right? And he gets in a good situation. By the way, with a ton of talent on that offense. You look at Mike Evans, Godwin, who looked really good yesterday.
Rashad White's a really good back.
Yeah, like he looked really good yesterday. So I feel good for him.
All right, let's talk about some of the other divisional opponents, or NFC divisional opponents, I should say. NFC East, that is. The Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns yesterday from Cleveland. The storyline heading into this game is, of course, Dak Prescott signs a massive contract extension, becomes the richest man in NFL history, signing a 4-year deal worth almost $250 million. But the secondary story of this one, John, was the broadcasting debut of one Tom Brady. And this comes from our friends over at Fox, of course, who had this game for the game of the week. John, this is the very beginning of the broadcast with Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady. I just want you to take a listen to this, and I want your initial thoughts because something jumped out to me when Tom Brady said this. I just want to hear what you have to say.
It is America's Game of the Week on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon from Cleveland, and a beauty this week one. The NFL on Fox is back with the Cowboys taking on the Browns, and we say welcome to the broadcast booth. He's Tom Brady, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt, and you're a broadcaster. How about that?
We're here. It's been quite a journey, but I love being your partner.
Just your thoughts on Tom Brady as the broadcaster, first of all, but did you get the same first impression that I did when he said, when they opened up with this broadcast?
Nice to be your partner. I thought he was horrible, and it's
all right. That's worse than I thought. I thought he was okay.
It's expected, but all right. So I was over a friend's birthday, so we were over, and the game was on then. So it's hard to really sit down and dig into the broadcast. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have anyway because of Red Zone. But yeah, I mean, like he was really slow with his delivery. It's almost like that he was methodically trying to think of what he was going to say. It's fine. It doesn't mean that he can't get better. If he's as much of a maniac about preparing with film and things like that, then he's going to watch the game and he's going to take constructive criticism and he's going to learn from it.
Sure.
I don't think he's going to suck that, but he was terrible.
So the other thought that I had when we looked at this clip was, it's been a journey to get here. Sir, you walked off the football field and you were handed the largest broadcasting check in like the history of broadcasting. You supplanted Greg Olsen, who I think is really, really good, and became Fox's #1 color commentator. just by walking in the front door. Now I get it. There's name value to being Tom Brady. But what journey? What journey did you take to get here?
Oh, poor Tom. Honestly, I just thought it was very awkward. I didn't think about the journey. Yeah, I mean, listen, I like Tom Brady, the quarterback. As long as he can be okay doing the games, I'm not going to get into overly criticize that. Tony Romo sucks. I can't watch the Tony Romo broadcast,
which is wild because he's
bad.
gotten progressively worse as his career has gone on. Because I thought he was really good his first year in
because it was new,
right?
Because he was doing what other people weren't doing.
It was interesting, and now I think he's just like. He's a weirdo at this point.
He had real natural energy that you don't typically get from the buttoned up, I've wanted to do this since my playing days type analyst. And he had real enthusiasm, and it worked. He also was calling out the plays, which everybody was impressed with. I wasn't, because I thought it was annoying. I talked to Kurt Warner, did an interview with him and asked him about it. And he said, well, I could do that too. Anybody that's up in the booth can more or less see what's coming. Right? Like, I'm a former quarterback. He's like, that's not my job to do that. You let the play unfold, and then you talk about the play. So we'll see with Tom. I'll get some more Tom Brady cuts as well, because he's a weird guy, man. And it was really awkward.
Yeah, I mean, we got a ton more to get into. I don't want to take too much time from our friend Harry coming up soon, but the Sunday night broadcast had some weirdness to it. And the NFL in general had a lot of weirdness to it. This is shaping up to be one of the worst passing week ones in the history of the NFL. In the history of the modern
you sent me
numbers.
the tweet.
I shouldn't say in the history of the NFL, but like within the scope of like the last 10 years, passing was down across the board in week one this season.
Yeah, 30-some touchdowns as opposed to like double that in previous years. All right, Harry Mays joins us in 1 second, but listen. How about this? Back to school. You know, it's here. Everybody's kids are back in school right now, and there's so much to buy. New clothes, backpacks, classroom supplies. True Marks Financial Rewards Visa credit card makes it more rewarding. Not only do you earn 1 point for every dollar you spend, you also, if you open it up now, a new Rewards Visa credit card, you get $50 gift card. You can apply online at truemark.com/PHLY rewards. Terms and conditions apply. Visit truemark.com/PHLY rewards for details. Federally insured by NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Listen, we know that it's here. The season is here. So check this out. I was on the BetParks app actually before the game last Friday. And I was looking ahead. I was telling Tyler this. So I'm like, you know what the line is for the Eagles and the Falcons if you buy it right now? And remember, the Eagles are at home. It's Monday Night Football. Eagles are only 4-point favorites over the Falcons. So I wonder what that is right now. I did not look on the BetParks app, as I'm going to do this in real time, but it's the only app that I use, Best Park app. It's the only app that I would ever recommend. So get it right now. BetParks app. On Wednesdays, me and my buddy Maniac Malloy, we do an odds boost where you go on there, we select 2 MLB games, and we boost those odds. You won't believe it. It's almost like free money. Almost, like I said. So let's take a look at the odds right here before we bring on H Mays. It was at -4, -6. See, I told you, get in now before they come out and they beat the Packers and the Falcons look like crap. Eagles are -6. So there you go. BetParks. Download the BetParks Sportsbook and online casino app right now, and boom. BetParks.com has terms and conditions. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. BetParks, gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. As we welcome in my old colleague at 97.5 The Fanatic, Mr. Harry Mays, who is that a library in the background there? H, what's going on?
Yeah, I've got a stash of books here. I'm a well-read man, Johnny, as you know.
Is that War and Peace that I see over your right ear? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Dostoevsky, I got back there. I got it all.
All right, so
congratulations on the new show, by the way. The studio looks great. You look comfortable in that chair.
I'm not.
This is beautiful.
I'm not comfortable in the chair. I want a desk just to let the people in. I want a desk where I can stand up. But I mean, the chair is not bad. You ever go to a restaurant where there's matchbooks underneath the high tops because it's uneven?
Yeah, the uneven table. Yeah.
They have a book, a John Wooden book underneath one of the legs of this chair.
Really? I have a wooden book in that bookshelf back there.
Probably the same thing. You probably get it free like somebody did here. All right, so give me your first takeaway from Friday night's game, Harry.
Well, I look at these early games with the way they've adjusted preseason and the way they practice in August as a slop fest. I'm sort of anticipating sloppy football, penalties, and so forth. And we got that Friday night. In fact, the Eagles in that first quarter were very fortunate to not be down 14-0 with the way they played on offense. I mean, Hurts was horrible. They just looked like they weren't ready to play. But then in the second quarter, both teams really got it going, and you still had a lot of penalties. Hurts, turns the ball over way too much. And those two interceptions that he threw are like passes that you're trying to get coached out of since you're 12 years old on the midget football team. I mean, late and down the middle and across your body into the end zone. I mean, those are cardinal sin types of interceptions, which really concerned me. And then you had the mishandled snap, or I guess Jurgens kind of snapped it before Hurts was ready. You kind of anticipated maybe some trouble between those two now that, Kelsey has retired. And then they had the botch snap on the tush push attempt late in the game, which, I'm out on the tush push right now. With Kelsey gone, can we just shelve that and give it to your big horse running back who would have had 4 touchdowns in his debut? Saquon Barkley was amazing. And, some other guys really showed. Jurgens and Becton and their tandem blocking on that offensive line really stood out to me. Guys, Zach Vaughn was all over the place making tackles. Nakobe Dean showed me some flashes, and then he showed me some young guy mistakes. The guy who really jumped out at me was Quinyon Mitchell, the first round pick. I know he made one mistake where he peeked into the backfield and got caught, but he's really aggressive. He's physical. I like the way that guy didn't play like a rookie on Friday night. So that jumped out at me.
Yeah. I thought the defense played pretty well, honestly.
Yeah.
Look at the first quarter.
Especially in that first quarter.
If that's a 14-0 game or a 10-0 game, it's a lot different, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they got to stop Blankenship on the interception. That's a huge interception in that spot.
Yep.
They got stops. This is not going to be a top 3 defense in the league.
No,
right?
But they're going to score a lot of points.
Defense.
I mean, somebody asked me back in July, what do you think of the Eagles? You got this all the time. I said, well, I think they're going to score a lot of points, but I also think they could give up a lot of points. It's going to be a lot of 35-28 type games, and that's what we got on Friday night.
You're going to have to play in the 30s. Get back to the Jalen Hurts throws. And he made some good throws too, and he was good on that final drive. Yeah. I don't understand the mentality of making those throws.
I don't either.
I don't like the first one. It's like, just throw it up there. What are you doing? You're like punting it.
Exactly. The first one deep down the middle. I mean, I hate to go back and use these, examples of guys that you're not playing Vanderbilt on a Saturday night in September. You can't make those throws and get away with it like you could back in the day when you were playing in college. He still showed signs of real youth, and he's been in this league now a bunch of years. I mean, that concerns me that he's still making those mistakes.
No, I agree, and that bothered me. But the final where he throws the interception, he almost throws a pick 6 on second down.
Exactly. Yeah.
And luckily that didn't happen. And then he comes back. It's 3rd and 13. If it's not there, you throw it out of the back of the freaking end zone, and now you're up by 8. I get it. You want the game put away. You're up by 12. You score a touchdown. You go up by 12. Game's over, right?
Right.
It wasn't there. He's throwing across his freaking body, sailing it into the middle of the end zone. Like, I don't understand the mentality of a player that's making big money in his second contract, has been to a Super Bowl. Sorry, like, his passing's regressed since 2022. He had 15 interceptions last year, Harry, and there were a lot of them were bad like that. They were bad interceptions Friday night.
Way too loose with the ball. I totally agree with you. But he did make some plays down the stretch in that final drive with his legs too. And the Packers had him bottled up for most of the game. When he tried to use his legs, but he made a couple of big plays. The one first down that he got, and his connections with DeVonta Smith are off. I mean, DeVonta Smith is a first down machine. That guy, you throw him the ball anywhere in his area on a 3rd down and 6, he's going to get beyond the sticks. He's not one of these receivers that runs one of those routes where you're like, oh my God, he didn't even get to the first down mark. He's always 2 or 3 yards beyond it, and he's going to catch the football, and you're going to move the chains. So they did a lot of good things, I thought, in that final possession. You would have wished that they gave it to Saquon one more time and made it an easy final minute or two, but they didn't.
Yeah, AJ's obviously a phenomenal talent.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
with you. I'm a DeVonta guy. When you need a big catch, like you had said, he's not. If it's 3rd and 8, he's getting 8.5 yards. It's a first down. He's not running 7 and being like, oh damn, you got to make sure you go to 6. Smart player, great routes. Really, you know what he is, Harry? He's a great compliment to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's an explosive beast.
Yeah.
Athletic beast. You saw that on
he's
the
a
touchdown
monster.
catch.
Yep.
And DeVonta is every bit as good, but in different ways. They really balance themselves really well. And then you talk about Saquon, and you saw this on the touchdown reception. Kellen Moore can design plays. Man, you're worried about AJ and DeVonta coming over the middle. If they ever figure out a way to get Dallas Goedert involved, and then Saquon perfectly runs out of the backfield right past the linebacker, right before the safety's ever able to make it over. Jalen had a good throw. And they're going to be really tough to beat if these guys stay healthy.
Yeah, they really are. And of course, that offensive line, too, is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all set up for Jalen Hurts to make a deep run here. And I mean, if he can somehow get some of those crazy throws, out of the repertoire, I think they're going to be all right. I think this win is going to look like a really good win come November and December, because I think Green Bay is a pretty good football team. Now, I know the quarterback's out for a little while there. Unfortunate that he got banged up on the final couple of plays, but I think that win is going to look really, really good later on this season against a good NFC team.
And the thing about it, the Eagles score a touchdown there. They give it to Saquon and he goes in. He's not injured because the Eagles don't defend any plays from there on out because the game's over and he doesn't get injured. So he literally is going to miss probably 4 games because of a shit play that didn't even matter. So,
right. Yeah.
Just one more complaint here. The defense I thought played well. Bryce Huff and Nolan Smith pretty much gave you nothing.
Yeah.
And Bryce Huff was brought in here, and I can see now why they decided they wanted to move on from Hassan Reddick. But you also have to replace his production. Hassan Reddick was the best player on defense for the last 2 years for the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And Bryce Huff showed nothing. And
nothing.
He had the double-digit sack year. I didn't know his name before the Eagles signed him, so it's not like that he flashed to me when I was watching Red Zone. Nolan Smith seems like he's a bust. Also, he looks too small, doesn't look fast enough. If his one move is to try to get around the edge on these tackles, good luck.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, week 1, it's definitely a bust. That's got to be better. That was one of the concerns I had. It was the way Green Bay was gashing them with the run in the second half. I mean, Green Bay, their running backs, Jacobs and I forget the other guy's name, Wilson. We're having some nice runs on that Eagles defense. That's a concern. Defensively, they're going to give up points. I think we just got to be comfortable with the fact that our offense is going to have to go 31 to 35 to 38 pretty much every week to have a win.
Harry, tell everybody what you're doing right now, because I know if you want analysis and tidbits and bites like this, Harry Mays is available for you after every Eagles game. Harry, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing on the Locked On podcast network, the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube page, and wherever you get your podcasts. Me and Jason Martinez, our old colleague from the radio days, are doing it as soon as the clock hits 0. We're on for about 30 minutes. They want us off after 30 because we'll probably say something stupid, if we go beyond 30 minutes. But so we were up late on Friday night, and we'll be up late on Monday night as 2 primetime games to open the season. You said it, that line's up to 6 points now. I watched a little bit of Atlanta yesterday, and man, they lost to Fields and the kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Atlanta stinks.
Wow, what a bad opening week for Atlanta at home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, and I can't even call Jason Martinez anymore because there's an actual Jason Martinez in Philadelphia for
That's
Fox
right
29.
on Fox. Yeah.
So they really get confused and be like, "Oh, you do it?" No, Jason Martinez, our old buddy from the Fanatic, Mr. Flyer. Also, so check that out with Harry. Also, follow everything that he does. You can check out his Twitter page. or whatever, at Harry Mays, MAYESTU. And the TU, unfortunately, Harry, is for Temple University.
Yeah, it's a basketball school once again. That's all there is to it. I don't even know if I'm going to tune in on any of the football games based on the results of the first 2 weeks. I'm at the point now where I'm saying, you know what, let's drop football and just sink whatever money's available into the basketball program and let's go.
Yeah, it's a basketball school. It's not very good at basketball anymore, Harry. I agree with you.
I'm optimistic about Coach Fisher, though. He's got some good recruits coming in there this year and next year. So, I'm optimistic there.
All right, well, dump that. Are you contributing to the NIL fund at all, Harry?
I spend all my money on golf right now.
Harry also doing the Swingin' and Dingin' podcast. Again, just check out his Twitter. Yeah. You can see it all. All right, Harry, I appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. Anytime, Johnny. You know my number.
I do. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right, you got it.
All right, there he is. Harry Mays. I mean, the first thing. So Tyler, I'm at the. My daughter is a cheerleader.
Okay.
All right, since second grade. You know what that means? We have a game every weekend, every Saturday morning. So she cheers the second grade football team.
Okay.
So I'm more or less going to be at every second grade football team game this year. So the dads are seeing me and coming up, and this is Saturday morning. Everybody's kind of like, "What did you think?" And I'm like, "Well, maybe what I like, yeah, like, but it's Jalen Hurts." Everybody had that same reaction, and the lead of the game, and you said it, and I agree 100%. I think Harry said it too. It's the reaction to Saquon Barkley, how impressive he looked, and it gives you a real peek into what this offense could look like this year. It's got every bit of potential in the world to do that.
Well, and that's the thing. I think a limitation of mistakes from this offense as a whole means that this offense is going to be one of the most dynamic in football. You have
for sure
two very one elite receiver and one who is 1B.
Yes.
and as you guys mentioned, they complement each other so well. I almost use the term like in the most positive way possible. DeVonta Smith is a first down merchant because you guys talked about it, right? How many times over the course of from the Donovan era on did the Eagles have wide receivers who were consistently short of the sticks on third down? You can even extend it to for a majority of his early career. Zach Ertz was the same way. Yeah. Zach Ertz was the guy that would sit at 5 when they needed 7. And then all of a sudden something clicked in his brain and with the offense, and all of a sudden he became an elite third down option. You have a wide receiver for maybe the first time in, I don't know, a long, long time, and you have two realistically. But DeVonta Smith is such a crisp route runner. He's so good in and out of his cuts. I have long said the best route runner in the NFL was Stephon Diggs. I think he is just an elite route runner. DeVonta Smith is right up there with him in terms of like the crispness of his routes, in and out of cuts, knowing when to break, knowing where to sit in the soft part of his zone. He is just a dynamic route runner.
Very intelligent player, makes big catches, surprises you with his speed. Is he the best receiver? So A.J. Brown is like T.O., except he's been here a little bit longer than T.O. was just for the year. Is he better than Jeremy Maclin at this point? I mean, Jeremy Maclin was good, and he made some clutch catches. If you remember that one catch he made over at the sideline.
Sure.
DeVonta seems like he's a little bit better.
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit different of a player.
I think that the difference there is obviously two different players. Maclin, a bigger body receiver than DeVonta Smith was. But I think the difference there is in order to get Jeremy Maclin to 100 receptions in a year, you kind of at times were force-feeding Jeremy Maclin.
Sure.
To get DeVonta Smith to 100 receptions this year, now I know, you throw the ball more now than you did in even just 10 years ago when Maclin was here. But DeVonta Smith can play, 1B secondary option to A.J. Brown and still pick up 100 receptions in a season. He is the guy that you go, he had 10 catches today.
Yep.
I don't know. A.J. Brown made the flashy 70-yard touchdown grab, but DeVonta Smith went, 8 for 102 and opened up the defense, allowed the A.J. Brown. I think he is such a important piece to this offense that even if he's not statistically the wide receiver leader, because it's typically going to be A.J. Brown, he is so critical to the success of this team because he opens up so much.
Oh, for sure. No, like the three pieces fit. AJ and DeVonta fit,
Yep.
and Saquon obviously fits. So we said the leads being Saquon. I'm not telling you tomorrow we're not going to talk more about Jalen Hurts, and I'm gonna text Fran to see if he can't come on and tell me what he saw when he looked at the film. Inexcusable. Those throws are inexcusable. That's how you lose games. Period. That's how you lose games. In a spot like that, late in the fourth quarter, you have a chance to put the game away, and you give the Packers new life. You really, really do. It was bad. It was bad. So he had a lot of good moments in the game. That's why I'm not coming out the first show that we have afterwards and making it all about Jalen Hurts. He plays like that, they're not winning a Super Bowl. Period. And I said it a lot last year. A lot of people said it a lot last year. You keep making those mistakes, it's going to come back to bite you when you play the better teams. Now, at the end of the year, I don't even know what the hell happened. There was turmoil that was going on. But you turn the ball over 3 times and you're -2 in the turnovers, you're likely to lose that game. And they won it. It's a good, really, really good win. Really, really good win. All right, so there you go. All right, we'll finish up with some more NFL stuff, and we got to mention the Phillies as well, because I don't know how much people watched the Phillies this weekend. I know I didn't watch a lot, so we'll get caught up with that coming up in a second. But listen, let's talk about Rite Aid for a second. My Pharmacy, get the account at Rite Aid right now. Refill your prescription, schedule a vaccine, get personalized care recommendations, sign up for everything. Right, all you need to get started is a prescription at Rite Aid. So go to riteaid.com/mypharmacy and stop stressing about your prescriptions. Rite Aid fills them automatically. So just enroll. It's easy. It's free. Most of your prescriptions will qualify. And then when it comes time for a refill, you're not going to run out because it gets auto-filled, right? Again, sign up through your My Pharmacy account. And, like anything that you need. I have 3 young kids. Everybody's always sick. My wife's sick, allergies, colds, whatever. Get to Rite Aid and get everything that you need. Talk to the pharmacist, whatever else. Download the Apple app in the App Store or Google Play. Transfer your prescriptions to Rite Aid today. RiteAid.com/transfer. Rite Aid, caring pharmacist, ready to answer your questions and help you stay healthy. Get your prescriptions along with anything at Rite Aid you need. Restrictions apply. Ask your pharmacy team for details. All right, Ace Hardware, their home services. You know what happens this time of year? You go to switch on the heat because it's getting cold, and it's like, what's going on? Why is the house not getting hot? Well, listen, you could have a problem with the heat, your air conditioning, leaky pipes, plumbing issues, and if you can't do it yourself, and I know I can't do anything myself, well, listen, they have you covered. The Ace Hardware Home Services, bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store now right to your front door. So here's what you do: AceHardwareHomeservices.com. Get you started on whatever you need, your next project. If you have a leaky pipe, if your toilet's not working, whatever it is, residential maintenance and installation, home repair services, everything we talked about, electrical, right? You can try to unclog your plumbing. I don't know about doing anything with electrical. They have you. Free estimates on equipment installations, replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home and your budget. And there are people right there in your neighborhood that are right out there with you. Emergency services are available when you need it the most. So, again, AceHardwareHomeservices.com. That's AceHardwareHomeservices.com. Check them out. All right, so we talked the first 45 minutes of the show about the NFL and the Eagles. And this tends to happen this year, Tyler, where the baseball team gets swallowed up in the weekend of the NFL. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch a ton of Phillies. Friday night, did I watch some Phillies? No. Saturday, did I watch some Phillies? Well, a little bit. And then yesterday, I watched no Phillies. You know why? Because I saw the score before I got in front of a TV. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to see anymore. I'm out. Phils lose yesterday, 10-1. They were behind 10-0 pretty early. That Seth Johnson dude that we talked about that was making his first start, I don't know if we're going to see him make another start anytime soon. There, Tyler. He was terrible. It didn't even make it out of the second inning. I don't think.
He wasn't any good, and he left a lot over the heart of the plate. Like I was excited to see what he could bring. He was pitching well in AA, pitched well in AAA. We talked about the acquisition of him and Moises Chase for Gregory Soto. Thought it was a really good deal for the Phillies, especially to move on from a guy that you didn't want and didn't want to be here. Not a great first start for the kid. And I say kid, he's an older prospect. He's 25 years old now. He did have surgery last year, missed a bulk of last year. So his first full season back in almost 2 years. Left a lot over the heart of the plate. There was I was watching a bulk of it for just to see what his first start looked like, and It was he left a lot to be desired. The fastball was flat. The breaking balls weren't quite good. To me, it's an unfortunate start for a guy making his major league debut. The bigger concern for me over the weekend in a 4-game sample size, you win games 1 and 2, and you walk out with a split.
You lose 3 and 4, and
to a bad baseball team.
And it felt like that they won the first 2 games and they knew it, and they were like, whatever. I don't know if they maybe had a late night one of those nights they're on South Beach or whatever. They're 7 games up in the division, so it's easy to let that complacency kind of take over. Here's the concern, because Wheeler was fine on Friday night. He looked good. Nola took the loss on Saturday. He didn't look great. He gave up a couple home runs, which you know what? That can be Nola sometimes. He can give you 7 of 3 runs. He could give you 6 of 5 runs. All right. Nola's kind of like he is exactly what he is this year, which is good. All right. You worry about, and I was actually talking to my buddy Chris at Wegmans yesterday about this. You worry about the team that's fighting and crawling and scratching to try to get in the playoffs, like the Mets. You're facing them in your first round, and they're already going 75 miles an hour in the left-hand lane, and you're just getting your drive started. And you're up 7 games, and it's not like, it's not a lock right now. That you play the Mets twice. You have 2 series against the Mets. That can change real fast. But it's easy to see how you just kind of glide into the playoffs because you're up, and then you start the playoff series, and boom, you got a team that's been playing hard for a while.
Yeah. I mean, so that's why to me Saturday was more annoying than yesterday was, because again, it's a young kid making a debut. He wasn't good. I'm not gonna make excuses for him. He just wasn't good. Aaron Nola has done a really good job this season of giving you an opportunity to win just about every start he's made. There's been a couple of bad ones. We've talked about it before on the Philly show, like the start against the Pirates out of the All-Star break, where they score 3 in the first and he gives them right back. They score another one in the second and he gives it right back. But for the most part, Aaron Nola, especially in the second half of the season, has been pretty good and consistent at giving you an opportunity to win. He didn't give you an opportunity to win on Saturday. He doesn't get out of the 5th. He gives up 4 earned runs. You have to go to the low leverage guys in the bullpen. Taijuan Walker doesn't pitch particularly well out of the bullpen. There may be a chance to win that game because you do score 5, but the likelihood of the situation is they had lost that game early in that one. I've given a lot of praise to Aaron Nola over this season, and rightfully so. I think he's been much better. He's been way more good than bad this year.
Oh, sure.
He wasn't very good on Saturday. No. So to me, the loss on Saturday is more annoying than the one on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. Johnson gave you no chance. I've been accused of being negative on Nola, and fine. I feel like I'm fair on Nola. You'll get these starts out of him. You just will. So whatever. 7 games up on the Mets. You have 3 against the Rays at home starting tonight, 3 against the Mets. So you go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off day Thursday, Mets Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's a big series. You gotta win the series against Tampa so you're not losing any ground. And then when the Mets come in, I don't want to be sitting here with 2 series left in the season and you're only 3 games up on the Mets. Do not do this to me. 3 against the Mets, and then you're at Milwaukee, 4 at New York. So that's the next 4 series. Home against Tampa, home against New York, at Milwaukee, who's a playoff team and a good team, at the Mets for 4. So, the Keys are still a little bit tight. I'm not ready to pronounce this over. You can see the setup to how they blow this. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think that they're still going to need to fight. Like, this thing's not over. They did themselves a lot of favors with that stretch that they had against some really good teams. The second series against Atlanta, winning, 2 of 3 against Kansas City, 2 of 3 against Houston. You created some distance for yourself, which is great. You win the first 2 games at Miami. You win one of the other 2, and you're probably much more happy with the weekend series. You just took care of business. You win 3 out of 4. You continue to extend your division lead, and you're continuing to just chop off numbers for that magic number at this point. A split makes you a little less comfortable, but they are still 7 up in the division. But like you said, they're not fighting for just to win the NL East anymore. You need a bye. You have to have one of the top 2 seeds with how well you started this year, with the fact that no team really in baseball has extended themselves as an elite baseball team this year.
Yeah.
There's not a single team yet, John, with 90 wins. The Astros are winning the American League West with 77.
Yeah.
The Guardians have 81. The Yankees have 82. The Phillies are at 85. They have the second best record in all of baseball. At this point, you have to make it a point for it to be you and the Dodgers in some capacity to be the ones in the 2 seeds in the NL East. If you fall to the 3 seed, you are just opening up a can of worms that you don't want to, and that you shouldn't need to, is the point. So they've done a nice job of creating distance in the NL East. Win the division is step 1. Step 2 is get a bye.
Yeah. Baseball and the Phillies give me more anxiety than the Eagles ever do. Playoff baseball gives me so much anxiety. Just talking about it makes me feel sick. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, there was a tweet I saw. It circulates every once in a while where it's like baseball fans will watch 162 games and not be happy for a single game.
Oh man,
They're 20 games over 500, 27 to be exact. They are 7 games up in the division. They are a game out of the best record in baseball. And they just won 7 of their last 10 games.
Right.
And they are...
Yeah, they're a good team. I
get it.
The anxiety, like literally during the playoffs, you'll hear me say this. I need a puke bucket when I watch these games. I literally am like, if this was a couch, I'd be on my side, like trying not to throw up. That's the kind of anxiety this team gives me. Or it always did. Even when they won a World Series, it was the same way. So, all right. So we have that. So just so everybody knows out there, we do the locks on Friday. We make our picks. We give our 3 best picks. We give the Eagles game as well. We both hit on the Eagles game. We both had the Eagles covering, so that was a win.
Yes.
So the picks, the locks that I gave out on the air were all losses. I went 0-3. But let me say this. All the other games, if I would have given out all the games, I would have had a winning weekend. It's just that the 3 that I picked, the 3 games that I picked didn't end up working out. And by the way, I lost that Bills game on a kickoff return. So that's really a win.
I think you got beat by the hook, didn't you? They won by 6. And I think they were 6.5.
Yeah. Were they 6.5 or was that Kansas City? Yeah, it was 6.5. Dude, they went up by 11 and Arizona took the kickback for a touchdown.
Yep.
Busted the spread. I got hooked on it. Yeah, so that's really a win. So if you really look at the weekend, I won the Eagles game, and we're going to we should count the Bills one as a win. So it wasn't that bad of a weekend with my picks. And I got all the other games right as well. I just picked the wrong games. I know you picked Atlanta, and you said you would consider changing that if Justin Fields.
Yeah, so I took Atlanta. I took the -3.5. They didn't even win the game. It is what it is. Dallas, to me, felt like the lock of the week.
Yeah, it did.
They were getting points on the road. I don't think the Browns are all that good. They're still missing Nick Chubb. Deshaun Watson stinks.
No, you just said it right there. Deshaun Watson stinks. It's never going to work out. He's done in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think so too.
Done.
I would not be stunned if there are fans that are going to shortly call for Jameis Winston to be their quarterback. But I thought that getting points on the road just made a ton of sense for Dallas. Minnesota was my other pick. We talked about a bad quarterback play. I will always bet against bad quarterbacks. Daniel Jones stinks too. He really stinks. Minnesota was getting 1.5 on the road. I didn't think they'd win that big, but
that game was over quick.
Not a bad start for me. I'm okay with it.
All right. So speaking of Daniel Jones, do we have the video? So like when one of my good friends is a Giants fan from New York. He's from Staten Island. He lives out in California now, but we're in the same fantasy league, and we have the 10 people are on the same fantasy chain. So there's lots of activity during football season, in particular on Sundays. And when the Giants re-signed Daniel Jones, it was like a laugh out loud moment for me because everybody knew what was going to happen. I don't think the Giants really wanted to re-sign Daniel Jones, but like I guess they felt like they had to after the season that he had. Meanwhile, they give him a better contract than Jalen Hurts for the most part, as far as like guaranteed money and things like that over those years. And Daniel Jones is not good. And look at the talent on that team. Who's their best player? Who's their best offensive player on that team?
Offensively,
Neighbors,
it
the
might
rookie.
be Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, who's second? There's no answer. Devin Singletary's their running back.
They got any good offensive linemen?
No, their offensive line's never good. The Giants' offensive line's never good. But Daniel Jones sucks. Everybody knows it. So, like, listen, Eagles fans have a reputation. Bad Eagles fans. Here's a Giant fan yesterday. You can pull it up here on the screen. This is after the game. And this is such a Giants fans are so weak, right? Like, New York's a really weird sports town. The Yankees, it's a baseball town, it's a basketball town, but they're divided between the Jets and the Giants. So this Giant fan starts burning Daniel Jones's jersey in the parking lot. And like he's using Pam cooking spray to try to.
Is that what that is? I thought it was at least some sort of like lighter fluid.
No, it's Pam. It's Pam. I guess they had. So they probably have it because they're grilling.
I just
and
assumed it was lighter fluid.
Yeah, no, it's nonstick cooking spray. So it's available because they're grilling and you can't even get it. Yeah, like I would use hairspray when I was a kid and I was a pyro and I got a lighter and sprayed the. Yeah. Do kids still play with fire like I did when I was a kid?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I used to play with lighters and hairspray and stuff.
Too many things can go wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. They didn't say it was smart. But that's what I used to do.
Yeah,
poor Giant fan. Like, first of all, if you're that much of a sap that you're going to actually think the Giants are going to be good this year, like, what are you thinking? What were you expecting? Daniel Jones was going to come out and look like the Daniel Jones that you thought maybe he could be a couple years ago? All right, so then there's that. Can you play the Collinsworth thing real fast? Do we have that? So I'm watching the game last night, and I'm friggin' miserably tired this morning because I couldn't go to sleep because that was a really good game last night. And I was like, you know what? F it. I'm going to stay up for it. And this is in overtime. So Detroit ties the game. They go to overtime. They win the coin flip. This is in overtime. I felt like I was in a time machine with Chris Collinsworth. Listen.
You start thinking about it, right? You start thinking how much do you need before you're going to go line up and kick it. You start thinking about which side you want your kicker to be able to kick it from. But it's coming so easily right now. I don't think you'll see him take big chances. I just think they'll play under control till they get the third down and maybe kick it then.
It's the first drive, by the way. It's not sudden death anymore. What is it? What is he in a time machine? How many years has it been where the sudden death is gone?
It's been a while now. And I feel when your broadcast partner says something like that, like Mike Tirico I think he tried to explain it in a way because the follow-up
that didn't make him look stupid.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to blow up the spot of your broadcast partner, but you also have to kind of remind them on the air that what they just said was wrong.
And he said something like, well, you're going to want to score here because if you get a touchdown, the game's over, right? So you tried to not show him up. But Chris Collinsworth didn't know the rule. He forgot the rule. I'm watching the game like, isn't this their first possession? What is he talking about? And I'm not a Chris Collinsworth hater. Like, normally I'm fine with him. He can be annoying for sure at sometimes, but I'm not this guy that I hate Romo. I can't stand Romo. But I'm fine with Chris Collinsworth. I was just like watching this game. I'm like, does he not know a basic rule? It's not sudden death anymore. He scored a touchdown. The game's over.
So, by the way, the current rule that is in place in overtime, which is if the team gets the ball first and scores a touchdown, they win. If they get the ball and kick a field goal, the other team
gets the ball.
That was implemented in. I'm trying to go back through the operations log of it's
got to be at least
the
5
NFL.
years.
The way that this is worded, and I'm going to find it definitively, the way that this is worded makes it seem like it was 2012.
Which it's always a lot longer than we think it is.
Right?
But we'll check on that for tomorrow. One last thing here, and we'll be back tomorrow. More Eagles stuff. We'll see what the Phillies do. I am getting up earlier than I have been in a while, and as I mentioned, Tyler, I was not allowed to sleep again because I watched the game last night. I went to take a leak in the bathroom this morning, and I put my underwear on backwards today.
Oh, good start to the day. Really good start to the day.
So, you know, the flap to where you don't have to, I was like, I put my underwear on backwards. Huh.
Really, really strong. I mean, listen, the good news is it can't get any worse.
Yeah, it could. At least I remembered my underwear.
that could be worse.
All right, everybody, we're back tomorrow. We're brought to you by Bet Parks and Parks Casino. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.